This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're talking about Kind Hearts and Coronets from 1949, directed by Robert Hammer, not a pro wrestler.
Robert Hammer is not. Bob Hammer is not a pro wrestler, you're telling me? Is Bob Hammer a porn star?
Rob Hammenager?
Well, I mean, Bob Hammer just sounds like a serious man that does serious business.
Well, sometimes he does hilarious business, as mentioned in the tagline for this film, RJ.
Mm-hmm.
A hilarious study in the gentle art of murder.
Is it? All with Alec? Pure Guinness?
When his mother eloped with an Italian opera singer,
Yeah.
Louis Mazzini was cut off from her aristocratic family. After the family refuses to let her be buried in the family mausoleum, Louis avenges his mother's death by attempting to murder every family member who stands between himself and the family fortune. Mm-hmm. But when he finds himself torn between his longtime love and the widow of one of his victims, his plans go awry.
What does awry mean in your vocabulary?
Awry?
Yeah.
I don't know. Not according to plan. I don't know.
Oh, I see.
It zigs where you expected it to zag, or zags when you expected it to zig.
To zig? Okay. Yep. I understand.
How about askew?
View askew?
Great man, Kevin Smith.
Oh yeah. Well, I know you're a huge fan.
Huge.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
Well, are you familiar with Kind Hearts and Coronets prior to this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's been like one of the biggest influences on me forever. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I've loved it forever. I've never seen it, but
Are you so I see.
The title is just so influential. No, I ain't never heard of Kind Hearts and Coronets. I didn't even know what a coronet was before this week.
I learned this week that for some reason I had logged this movie as having being watched before on Letterboxd, but I had never seen it.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think maybe I just assumed that at some point, maybe like a drunken rage, I watched some Ealing Studios comedies.
Is that what happened? You think?
Maybe. Possibly. You know about Ealing Studios?
I know about View Askew. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not unfamiliar with that. Do you want to tell me about it?
Not really.
Okay.
You have the internet. You can look up shit yourself.
I don't have the internet.
Weird. So there's like a featurette, and
I
I believe this is on not the Criterion version of this, because this, of course, as the beginning of the film will remind you, is a Studio Canal affair. Ergo, it's got your favorite thing in the world: explosive, loud, symphonic sounds introducing itself.
Has it started to bother you now too?
No, I just whenever it happens, I just laugh because I'm like, RJ's annoyed, and that makes me kind of
so
happy.
Obnoxious.
This featurette was called "Once More with Ealing."
Oh God, what a bunch of nerds! That's all I can say. What a bunch of total nerds. Do you know what I mean? Do you agree?
Welcome to featurette guys. And they like those puns.
Huge fucking nerds. I mean, if you're listening to this, you're probably a huge nerd too.
They like funning around. So there was some post-World War II films that they made, such as Kind Hearts and Coronets, Passport to Pimlico, whatever that is.
That's one of my favorites.
I think it came out the same year as this. The Lavender Hill Mob.
Oh.
And everyone knows the Lady Killers.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I remember you've seen that Coen Brothers movie, right?
I sure have. Who hasn't? Mm-hmm. All-time great, apparently.
But Ealing Studios, they're back.
In which form?
I don't know. In the 2000s, they started making movies again. Like The Importance of Being Earnest, 2002. Shaun of the Dead, 2004. The Theory of Everything from 2014, and interior scenes of the British period drama television series Downton Abbey were shot in stage 2 of the studios. Huge.
That's that's beyond huge.
No?
I know you're a huge Downton Abbey man.
Yeah. Upstairs, downstairs, and all that.
Yes. Yeah, you love it, don't you?
Loving it. Love it.
Big guy over here.
So, yeah, this movie's kind of just been on my distant radar, just like a blip in the distance, because it has a peculiar title, Kind Hearts and Coronets. Well, it sounds so proper. And I'd also had heard about it because they often, like, Peter Sellers and Alec Guinness get kind of brought up in their how they played all these characters at various points. This is Alec Guinness's I play 9 different characters movie. That was kind of my...
Like the Nutty Professor?
Like the Nutty Professor.
Who do you think would win in a Nutty Professor off? Alec Guinness or Eddie Murphy?
What's the competition?
Well, it's got to be a movie that neither of them were involved in at first, or weren't involved in, but something that is similar, right? So it's kind of like...
Does Eddie Murphy have the advantage because he's alive?
No.
Okay.
Not really. I mean, we can get Alec Guinness back. It's not that hard.
Obi-Wan?
Yeah, we can get him back. That's not that big of a deal.
Okay. Horse's mouth.
The horse's mouth, yeah.
Yeah.
All Alec, pure Guinness.
Yeah.
You can get him back.
So, this is on Roger Ebert's great movies list, but never a movie I was rushing out to watch. And,
Is Ebert's wrong half the time?
I mean, when he likes a good movie, it's like, well, it's a good movie, even if he likes it or not.
You know
sometimes. You know what I mean?
Sometimes, yeah. Anyway.
But surely, RJ, you might be familiar with the book that this movie is based on by Roy Horniman.
I know Roy Orbison.
Okay.
Is that any relation?
No, not at all.
Oh.
But the book is titled Israel Rank, The Autobiography of a Criminal.
Oh, yeah. I know that one.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Very familiar. Very familiar. Yeah.
Would you like to know how Alec Guinness became involved with this production?
I'm assuming they called him and asked if he wanted to be work for money, and he probably said yes.
Well, he paused, and he said, "All right."
Will you work for money? And he goes, yeah.
Alec Guinness was originally offered only 4 D'Ascoigne parts. Recollecting,
Oh, wow.
I read the screenplay on a beach in France, collapsed with laughter on the first page, and didn't even bother to get to the end of the script. I went straight back to the hotel and sent a telegram saying, "Why 4 parts? Why not 8?" He eventually played 9.
These are kind of stories that I hate, Jarrett.
I know, and that's why I tell them.
I know, but
do you? I read these and I laugh and I go, "Oh, I love hearing about this."
Could you
just fathom like a man like I'm reading a screenplay on the beach, standing, and then I collapse in laughter from reading a fucking play. It's like, oh no, it's never happened.
imagine going, oh, but also imagine being the guy who wrote that, because it's like, people got to hear about this.
But he did. But
People
apparently,
gotta know.
Alec Guinness did. He recollected it.
I know.
This is his claim. But RJ, why 4 parts? Why not 8? Do you question the authenticity?
It reminds me of like a Futurama gag where it'd be like, why do 3 when you can do 10? And it'd be like something very ridiculous.
Wow, but it's different. But it's even
intentionally so.
It's worse than that though, because it's supposed to be like it's what we call the EPKs, those electronic press kits. Now it's just YouTube. But when you ask an actor regarding their enthusiasm about a production that was successful or well regarded after the fact, they'll always tell you like this thing that they've been circulating around endlessly, and then somebody in marketing is like, yeah, you got to tell that story. They'll love it.
That's like I noticed I stopped watching like talk shows like long time ago, But it's like, these guys always have like a canned story where it's like, and then
Like on Jimmy Fallon?
Yeah, and it's like, I said to the guy, do whatever you want. It's not my cow. And then you'll see them like a year later on a different talk show, and it's the same story, and you're like, I remember this. You're like, my attention's not that small.
Well, if you ever took my advice, RJ, on Crave, you could just watch the Larry Sanders Show and really.
Does it have canned
it's
stories like that?
It's about that. It's about it though.
That sounds old as shit though.
No, it's good. It's really good. It's a very funny show.
Maybe.
Everyone should watch Larry Sanders Show.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Hey now.
What was I saying? Yeah, it's like all those canned stories where people tell, and then you like, it's just nothing's real, Jarrett. These people.
All right.
And I know I've been anti-celebrity lately, but even Alec Guinness, just telling the story. Why not 8? And everyone goes, "Oh God, Alec,
what a scam!
Crazy son of a bitch. He really did it." How many characters did Eddie Murphy play for Nutty Professor? How many characters did Eddie Murphy play in Coming to America? That's the most commonly searched one. How many characters? 4 in Coming to America, and then let's see, Nutty Professor. Jarrett, I know this is riveting information. Riveting. How many did he play in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, just 4. 5? I think it's 5.
Rank amateur.
Yeah, I think it's 5 for Nutty Professor. I can't. The Google isn't responding very well. Oh, total is 7. 7, Jared. In Nutty Professor 2, the clumps.
That's not 9.
It's not 9. It's not 9. 7. Okay. Anyways, what were we talking about?
So this movie, Kind Hearts and Coronets, it's set in 1900, I think.
The year 1900?
The year.
Or the time?
The year 1900.
Oh, okay.
Edwardian England. Louis Gascoigne Mazzini, the 10th Duke of Chalfont. He's awaiting his execution by hanging for murder. And you go, what is this all about? Mm-hmm. And he's going to be dead tomorrow morning, so he's going to write his memoirs, and the movie will be told in narrated flashback.
Yes, it will definitely be told in narrated flashback. I have opinions on that later.
Okay, so we get his backstory. His mother is part of this family, the Gascoigne family, and she instead of marrying English, she marries an Italian man.
You know what they say about the Italian men, Jared?
What do they say about them?
Some have said some things that are not so nice. I won't repeat it because I'm not one of those people who would say such a thing. I will
say that one of the things that they made a point in the production of changing is in the original book, the character is Jewish, and post-war, they were making a point of avoiding anything that could be seen as anti-Semitic. So why not just go all in on the Italians, RJ?
I mean, I guess, Well, it's like that meme. It's never a racist when it's against Italians.
What?
I don't know.
Is that a meme?
I saw it on the internet once.
I see.
I'll send it to you later.
Okay.
It wasn't on some sort of like 5chan thing. It was on the normal Twitter. So
she eloped with a singer, Mazzini, and they have a baby boy. The actor who plays Louis Mazzini also plays his father with a mustache.
Mm-hmm. And how long did it take you to notice that there was 8 different actors in these roles?
What? No, I think you're mistaken, RJ.
Jarrett, there's 9 different actors in this movie. Did you not know that?
I know. We'll talk about that too. So
that's the joke. Yeah.
So they are poor, but they were happy. But
Mm-hmm.
Mazzini dies and leaves Mama with her baby, living a unspectacular life, and he grows up to be a very old looking young man. Kind of.
Yeah, he's kind of aged. He's got like styes and stuff, so you can tell he's like not quite the age that he's maybe trying to be.
You're picking on old Dennis Price.
No, I'm trying to be tender with him. You know that. This is the year of tenderness, remember?
He was like 34.
No, I mean our year right now currently is the year of tenderness.
He died pretty young. He was only 58.
What? He was only 58?
When he died.
What did he die of?
I'm not sure. He died on Guernsey, Channel Islands, though. No one
is that a real place?
Nobody wants to go out that way.
That's not a real place, is it?
Oh dear.
What did he do now?
He killed himself.
Oh,
by gas.
My.
RJ, why?
Jarrett, how many weeks in a row? How many weeks in a row has this happened?
Wow.
3? Is
once.
It 4 now?
No, one. This has not happened a bunch.
Well, no, I mean, but in the theme of the last like 3 movies in a row has been suicide.
Well,
and now this has an actor who actually did
fake.
it.
Yeah, that's fake though. This is real.
I know, but it keeps coming back. It's getting brought up a lot.
Wikipedia mentions that specifically Dennis Price was bisexual.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just a little note. He was bisexual. It's like, all right.
It's like, just so you know, he was also gay, and then everyone goes, okay.
That's it.
I mean, that's essentially what they're saying, and you go, okay.
He played Jeeves, right?
Jeeves?
PG. PG Wodehouse? Jeeves?
I don't know PG Wodehouse or Jeeves.
You don't know Wodehouse?
No.
What?
I know the butler named Jeeves.
Well, this is the butler. You know Wooster?
What?
You know Wooster and Jeeves?
I know Rooster Cogburn. Is that the same in any sense?
No.
Oh.
I'm just going to say no.
Okay.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
So everything gets explained that, he does not have access to this lineage that he comes from. But he's like, that's fine. I understand. His mother understood. That's just the way it has to be. But then she dies. And all he wants is for his mother to be buried in the family crypt.
How come?
Well, because it'd be nice.
What's his character motivation here, Jarrett?
Well, it starts off innocently enough, I suppose.
Yeah.
But that's what kicks things off is when the family just kind of like says, "Nah, Doc, we're good." Mm-hmm. She made her decision. You're not part of the family anymore.
Yeah.
And
it's happened to all of us.
And so he's all kind of like, well, fuck it. I guess I'll just like sell clothes and stuff.
Yeah, he does. He sells underpants for a while. Got a pretty good screenshot of that, Jarrett.
Yeah.
You know about underpants?
I've heard of it. I've yet to experience underpants myself.
Well, one day we'll get you there, buddy.
Yeah. So there's also this ongoing story with Lewis's like childhood friend Sibella and her brother, which becomes important later. He wants to get married to her, but she's like, no, you don't have any money.
Yeah, money's important.
Money makes the world go around, apparently.
Allegedly, that's what they tell us.
So yeah, he's selling clothes at the draper's shop? Is that clothes or drapery? Or all the same? I thought he was selling clothes. Yeah. So anyway, he gets a run-in with one of his uncles, I guess. Ascoin de Ascoin.
Yeah, how did you feel about the names in this one? Ascoin, Dascoin.
What did you think of Ascoin, Dascoin?
I was standing up when I heard it, and I keeled over because I was laughing hysterically.
I mean,
Jarrett.
I can't believe that you're sitting across from me digitally and you're able to
Contain myself.
contain yourself.
I know.
Yeah.
It's hard, dude. It's like Dascoin, baby. I mean, it's like, wow.
Jesus, sorry, I caught myself.
I know. It'll get you every time, man. It'll get you every time.
So anyway, Dascoin, he pisses him off a little bit too much. But Lewis finds a little bit of a spine in all this. He kind of snipes back because he's kind of overhearing Ascoin macking on this lady, and he's like, "Do your business. You don't need to listen to what I say." And he's like, "Well, I wouldn't bother to listen to anything you have to say." Something along those lines. But it's very classy. It's very Wildian, I would say, the way to describe the wordplay and the use of language in this movie, RJ.
I see.
You see it?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, there's some language at play.
There's some language. There's some language. Ascoin's like, "Well, I'm going to have your job, prick." That's us writing. And sure enough, he's out of work. And he's like, "Well, good. I don't have my job holding me back anymore." So what do? You got nothing. Your mom's dead. These prick people, they're not like, playing fair. They're not being nice. Well, you're just going to have to start thinking, well, maybe I should become the Duke. Oh, but there's a lot of people ahead of me in succession before I become Duke. Unless...
And then what happens?
Well, he begins the process of picking off the family, who are all played by one Alec Guinness, one by one.
How many does he hit? Would you say 8? I think is the correct
well,
amount?
One's a natural death, and he's kind of happy about that. He's like, "Well, I like that one. I'm glad I don't have to kill them anymore." That's the banker where he gets a job at.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ascoin to Ascoin, that's ones that like essentially some sort of country club, and they're snogging on a boat for too long, and they get sent down into the weir and go over the edge.
Yeah, which I like that one. That one was fun.
Yeah,
I liked the boat for going over. I was like, oh, fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said it like that too. I went, oh, fun.
So this is kind of Lewis's entry into the family, because he writes a letter to that guy's father, Lord Ascoin to Ascoin.
Yep.
He was like, "Oh, I'm so moved by your touching letter. I will employ you in my bank."
Mm-hmm. Yes, because he was so moved by it, Jared. Sure.
This is also kind of like the motivation here too. Is like, I really want Sabella, even though she's like married to this like other guy now. But I mean, I got something to prove now. So Lewis, he gets like his little like his conspiracy map, his little Charlie map on the wall of like how the lineage all breaks down, and he's going to take them out one by one.
And how would you plot your revenge one by one?
Well, it's not even revenge. I mean, it's just
plot
murder. Well, RJ,
murder most foul.
That would be actionable.
Wow, Jarrett.
I mean, who knows? Who's listening, officer?
Next time. I'll get you next time.
Yeah.
It was close.
Yeah, so there's an amateur photographer that he decides he's going to take out. But of course he also meets this guy's wife, played who's Edith. Who's smoking hot, RJ, by 1900 standards.
Is that the language they use in the movie, or is that your?
It is exactly their language. That is a direct quote.
That's a direct quote. That's not something that you came up with.
Her second husband was John Profumo, a British government minister who became the subject of a sensational sex scandal in 1963.
Well, who doesn't like a good John?
So
John Profumo.
She's the kind of woman who attracts sex scandal ministers.
What kind of scandal would you have?
No, she was Baroness Frankenstein in Bride of Frankenstein.
In the original?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Not bad. I'm just making sure she did not kill herself.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. The fact that we need to check that
now I have to check.
Is showing what the last couple weeks have done to us.
Now I'm very worried about all this.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I brought it up. Is that the fact that you need to check it is a thing.
Yeah.
On its own.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Do you think fans of this movie are going to be so mad at us?
Fans? Why?
I think this movie's got big fans, RJ.
Mad at us for what? We haven't said anything bad.
We haven't said anything wrong. But maybe we're not treating it with the
because
we're proper respect.
We're not absolutely praising it at the moment. The people will.
They'll have to wait for the praise.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So he fills up a lamp in the photographer's dark room, and it explodes, and he's dead. Then it's he dies off camera, and the smoke comes up over the hedges, and it's hilarious.
Well, yeah, who wouldn't think that was hilarious, Jarrett?
But now Lewis is like, well, fuck, I don't even care about Sibella anymore. I got this Edith. She's so kind.
Yeah, and maybe the love is real, Jarrett.
Maybe the love is real.
You know what I mean?
Then there is the Reverend.
Yep.
I think is it at this funeral or one of the funerals where you get the shot of all the Alec Guinnesses in one shot? That was some movie magic, RJ. Were you impressed?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think I noticed.
Wow.
Saw a scene with a bunch of people there, and I went, mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're all Alec Guinnesses.
Yeah, but I mean, is that impressive?
I mean,
is it? I don't know. At the time, was that
in 1949? Yeah, it was neat.
Okay.
I mean, they just did some masking, and they took a bunch of time to do it that way, but it's in the realm of possibility. And now you just use a clone stamp and just you don't even need Alec. You only need one Alec Guinness. You don't even need an Alec Guinness.
You just
CGI let Disney
there.
do it all you want. You want Alec Guinness. You want Obi-Wan Kenobi doing whatever you want him to do. You can do it.
Well, he signed off his likeness to them. They own it now.
Apparently.
He might be dead, but they still own it.
Yeah, they got that. They got those corpse rights.
Yes.
You didn't even know there were corpse rights, but they got them.
They got them. Yeah. Who owns your corpse rights?
IBM. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Arby's got me.
Oh shit!
Long time ago.
Yeah, they're gonna put you into a taxidermy case.
Well, I'm not sure what the plan is.
Just have a little placard. Can't beat the meat.
We got the meats.
They'll be changed by then. It'll be can't beat the meat.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
All right.
So, do you remember how he kills the Reverend?
No, there's so many deaths I could hardly keep track.
He poisons his after dinner port.
Okay, I remember it now.
And it's because he's he's like a forgetful Reverend Blithering. He's incredibly old.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Lewis poses as some sort of church guy, a bishop.
Yeah,
sure,
it's something like that.
Whatever. Yeah. Then there's the one. I think it's the only female character that Alec Guinness is playing, the aunt, who's going for she's a suffragette, and she's going for a hot weather balloon ride across the city, and she's dispatched with a bow and arrow shot through the balloon.
I like that one of the most, just because it's fast and it's efficient.
There you go. Yeah.
So
that one's very quickly done and over with, and it's all there because it's that's all I can see. Tries a little woman. What this movie? It pulls no punches. Oh, and then there, what?
Nothing. No, it doesn't pull any punches. He kills a woman, Jared.
Kills her dead. But
in that economy?
But it's a woman played by a man.
I know. Ahead of their time, some might say.
Or you know.
Yes.
There's Admiral Lord Horatio,
Yeah.
I guess the problem with him is that he never comes to land.
Yes. And then, is there any is that it for him? It's just he doesn't come here, and then that's all.
And then it's like a collision at sea is
Right.
formulated, and they just
Is it
crash,
implied
and
that he?
and he goes down with the ship willingly.
Oh yeah.
Which
Is it implied that
apparently-
he set that up?
I guess. I don't know. So there's a note here. The death of Admiral Horatio Gascoigne was inspired by the collision between HMS Victoria and HMS Camperdown off Tripoli in 1893 because of an order given by Vice Admiral Sir George Tryon. He chose to go down with the ship, saying, "It was all my fault." Victoria was sunk, losing over 350 men. Good God.
How many men have you lost lately?
None.
What do you mean none?
You've
led some bad campaigns.
I've lost no men.
What about D&D men? How many characters have you lost on those campaigns?
Well, I haven't actually lost any characters in D&D. I mean, me as a DM is a different story.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I run a very tight ship.
And how many souls have you lost as a DM?
Oh, many.
Several. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I don't know about this 350.
Okay. So that was a real thing, hey? Do you think boats just crash into each other?
No, they don't. But apparently it did one time at least, and that's rough. Maybe there's was it ramming speed?
All it needs is is one time.
They're on the same side.
Yeah, I guess maybe
that's
people
even
just
worse.
They just weren't watching where they were going.
I guess. Why were Her Majesty's ships smashing each other?
I don't know. I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard seeing out there at water, especially nighttime. I bet it was dark as hell.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
There's a general.
Yeah.
His caviar gets bombed.
Yeah.
And then there's the guy that got him the job at the beginning. He dies. Not from murdering, but just dies. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty good. I feel pretty good about myself on that front. But then he goes to confront the final boss, the Duke.
And how does that boss battle go?
Fuck, he just shotguns him right in the face.
In terms of boss fights,
he gets first he lures him into a man trap in the woods, literally a man trap, while going hunting. This is after he's telling him, "I'm going to be marrying Edith." Because
he makes his plans very vocal.
Yeah, and of course there's this thing going on. Is each time he Scott Pilgrim's off one of the bad guys, he gets nicer clothing. He becomes more refined. Should be also noted, all this is being narrated completely. But there's all these quotes one could attribute to how he says it playfully, what he'll do to them.
Yeah.
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 Well, it's very dry, RJ. It's a very dry sensibility in the humor.
I know. It's very dry. It's kind of like how when I bring up certain podcasters that wear tin hats and I mention how you're a fan, you say you're not. It can be interpreted a few different ways. You know what I mean, Jarrett?
Curious
is right.
Mm-hmm.
Curious is right.
So, then, what is it? Oh, I think, okay, I'm just looking this over. The Lord Gascoigne, he dies from the shock of hearing about what happened to that guy getting killed on the hunting trip. And at that point, that's the real final boss, I guess, is shock.
Yeah. That one was that one wasn't planned though, right? That was just convenience.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so glad that worked out that way." And now but now of course he's got some problems because he's also having to finagle this whole Sabella and Edith deal because he's trying to bring Sabella along for the ride because she kind of knows what's up. She knows what's happening, and she's but she's growing more interested, of course, as he's gaining more stature. She's like, well, maybe I don't need to be married to the rich doctor or whatever, or the brother of or was it who did she marry?
Who did she marry?
Yeah, initially, because there's the guy, and he's a real lout too.
It was the guy that he meets in the
Yes.
the garment store.
No,
No, the
or
other guy.
maybe it was in the garment store. But there's the guy that what winds up happening is he's killed all these people, but
Yeah.
the thing that he's waiting to be hanged for is a guy who he slapped around a little bit, sent packing, and then that guy kills himself, but he got snacked up a little bit, and of course the fingers are being pointed at our new Duke. And of course, it's like, well, the irony, RJ, is that it isn't even who somebody killed. That he really did kill himself, but there's no evidence. And Sabella could say that, well, this guy wasn't getting any help and was broke and he killed himself. But she's like, I can't say that. But what if perhaps a note was found saying that he did kill himself, perhaps,
Ooh.
and then you'll be able to walk away. But what's in it for me?
What would be in it for them, Jarrett?
Profit.
What would you get out of it? Profit?
Profit.
Well, and do you think that's a better plan though?
I don't know. I mean, it's that or you die. But I mean, this guy seems to be like kind of like, well, I mean, I lived my best life, and now I'm gonna hang for it. But this is kind of like a get out of jail free card, like truly.
Yeah,
and,
kind of.
And he's kind of like, well, why the heck not?
Yeah, would you take it or would you? Basically, what I'm saying is, would you go or would you want to be got? You know what I mean?
Wow, I guess it depends on what's worse. Which one's worse? So he gets out, and of course he's all like, "Oh, no one can stop me now." And then of course he remembers. Then someone says, "Oh yeah, you'll have to publish your memoirs." And he goes, "Ha, yes, memoirs, dong." As he remembers that he wrote all his admissions of all the people he's killed in his memoirs that he's left on the table of his jail cell. So he's like, what's going to happen next?
But that's in Kind Hearts and Coronets 2. Kind Farts and Coronets Poo. That's a clever pun for you, Jared.
Really? Fascinating.
Yeah, you know about clever puns?
I do now.
You do now, buddy.
I didn't before.
You do now, buddy.
So
You're
in
welcome.
the American version, they added a little bit more footage to that with guards finding it. Just in case you're like, oh, it's like, no, don't worry, he's a bad guy. He's going to go to jail. He's going to get killed now. He's really guilty. Just no, we don't want ambiguity. It's like, no, he's a bad man. Don't kill people, folks.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of bad men in the world. Some of them do podcasts. Some of them listen to podcasts. What would you do to the bad men, Jarrett? How would you respond?
About like being moralized to through weird filmmaking decisions by studios.
Yeah.
How would I react?
Yeah.
Well, I'd say, thank gosh.
He said, man, I wasn't going to be able to sleep tonight.
We could have mentioned this during our news segment, but did you hear about the alleged edit to Fight Club?
I did hear
in
about
China.
the alleged edit to Fight Club.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, I think it's fine to play around with Fight Club. Maybe people need a different Fight Club movie. Maybe people need to let the original Fight Club movie go.
Because don't worry, the proper authorities, they stopped his dastardly plan.
Yeah. And honestly, maybe that's what the world needs right now. I'm not an authoritarian or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
I know.
You know what I mean, Jared?
I feel you.
Yeah. So anyways.
I feel you.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So what did I think of this movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. It comes back to this comedy being a subjective thing, there are, I don't know.
So you're not saying it was the laugh riot that made Alex Guinness keel over?
No, I'm correct. That is what I'm saying.
Well, it looks like listeners of the show, not many, but some have rated this quite highly.
Well, I will say that I did receive an email from one Rob Eagle, very much saying this is one of their favorite movies of all time, and it holds a very special place. It seemed it was messaged me specifically, or to my name anyway, so I did not read it on for the show earlier.
I see,
but it's one of Rob's all-time favorite movies, and rates it. I think it makes a comment here that I disagree with, that Oscar Wilde has not aged well, and that Kind Hearts has aged well. I think that's...
I mean, it's hard to say because Oscar Wilde stuff is just stuff that's printed on like T-shirts and like cups now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know about aging well, but I think like the immersion into like other culture stuff with Oscar Wilde has somewhat.
There's more than that though. There's like the stuff that everyone would know as Dorian.
The generalized
everything people would know as wild stuff. But you read like the picture of Dorian Gray, and it's like, holy fuck, like this is like it's crazy. Just like how well written that thing is, and like it's like, man, like I mean, this guy distilled like so much of whatever witticisms he had. It just like, it seems like it's so effortless. You're just reading these characters going off, and you're like, good, like fuck. You read like the books that come out, and the way people talk now, ourselves included. It's like, who are these imbeciles? It's like these incoherent bastards. Like they can't speak. Then you read this, and you're like, well, I mean, this is obviously written and scripted or whatever. But and watching this, it's like it's kind of in that. It's definitely in that spirit. I think there's like lots of references in the from the critics of the time talking about referencing Wilde in terms of like just the drawlness of that narration, and the kind of the cute ghoulishness of it. That I don't know. We had to find a copy of this that was not on the channel, so there was no subtitle in. That I had access to anyway. I had
subtitles.
I did not. So I that would have probably helped a little bit. Which I found was the one movie I'm thinking of where was it important? It wasn't just Importance of Being Earnest, which is based on the Wilde play, that movie. Yeah. But I found find sometimes with this like very what feels very literary screenplay, it helps to be able to read along.
I think Fat Girl is an Oscar Wilde.
Oh,
I think. I can't confirm or deny. I'm pretty sure.
I see.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah. Some of the written stuff can be a little bit different, but you know, your language, like everything else, evolves. You know. Mm-hmm. So we dumb it down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just part of our.
You gotta take it down a peg or five.
Take it down a peg there
for us guys over here.
You say, "Stop working so hard, eh? We's doing something over here." Kind of like that.
Exactly like that.
Is what I would do.
But yeah, I don't know. Once you get past the amusingness of Alec Guinness plays all these characters, that's a cool idea. That's about it for me. I didn't really get into the Lewis character. I didn't feel like I was rooting for him, which like you should be how's he going to kill somebody next? I didn't think like any of the deaths were particularly interesting.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So most of the characters' dynamics I just really wasn't enamored with, and I don't know. I don't really have that much to say.
It's fine.
I just kind of watched it and I was like, "Yep, I've done it," and that's it. I'm unlikely to watch it ever again. So
you're not gonna watch any Criterion ever again. Let's be honest.
That's not true. That is not true at all. But
for the most part,
well, it's. I think we're in a batch of films that one day maybe we'll get out of these weeds. But I don't know. This movie also kind of reminds me of that Colonel Blimp movie that we also get roasted for not caring for very much. Like it's okay, but
we like Colonel Blimp. We were actually pretty positive on. We're like, yeah, this is good. We just don't love this movie.
Those were salad days.
People just do not like that.
I don't know. I would probably be close to the same idea. I gave it 3 stars, which back then was like borderline.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So like, okay, so I watched this movie, Jarrett, and it was about 20 minutes in when I was like, I'm getting a lot of words right now. I'm processing a lot of language,
text
in my brain at the moment here. And I don't know if you saw my review, but
I did.
And do you agree with that?
Well, what is it? What did you say?
I said that this is like watching an audiobook. And it wasn't like, that wasn't even meant to be like a real gotcha joke or anything like that. Like I genuinely felt, I was like, this thing plays out like an audiobook. Like I feel like someone's just reading to me and there are things happening in pictures. And I know what people will say. That's what like motion pictures are, dumb. And it's like, yeah, I know, I get it. But I don't know, this thing, it just had like real book vibes to me. Where I was like, it's like I feel like some dude is just, some old British guy is just reading to me, and it's like that's fine. I can so I do think there are a lot of people who reel into this, and I can see like I know why people would be too. Like I think it scratches a particular itch. Some people love old movies, especially old man movies, of dry wit and alleged fast-paced kind of stuff, you know. Like I mean, the one thing this movie does do is it moves at a pretty good clip. Like it doesn't waste any time. It's just like, I'm here, I'm gonna kill that guy, I did it, or I got a job, it's done, I'm gonna kill these people, okay, I killed him, okay, now I'm gonna be the other guy, okay. And like it moves along fast. So I think it fits into that kind of a category of movie that's like, you know what I'm describing, right?
I do. Yeah, like, because there's scenes like when Ascoin younger is hanging out with Lewis in the drapery store. I think that scene's like pretty well done. You get the dynamic of like, this is a snooty rich guy treating a servant like shit, and you're like, yeah, this guy's a prick, and I kind of look forward to when he gets dead. And then like when he's kind of trying to warm up to him, because he makes these observations along the way, like next time I meet him, he's going to not know who I am. And just to test that, he goes over, and the guy has no idea who he is, and he's like, I'm not going to pay you any mind. What is funny though is like Alec Guinness looks so old as the younger version.
Yes,
that
he
you're
does.
just like, you're like, how old or young is this guy supposed to be? Because he's like, I think he's supposed to be like a 20-something-year-old, but he looks like 50. Like you can see it in the banner image of on Letterboxd. You're like, he's supposed to be a young guy, and then you see his like father, and you're like, I guess they seem about like not that far off in age, but different times. 1949.
Well, that's a lot harder living.
Or pseudo 1900.
Yeah, hard living, man. A lot of excessive alcohol and cigarettes. Sometimes dinner was just a single potato. Like it was a hard life to live. But no, yeah, I know what you mean. Young Alec is super old. But yeah, so I just mean like I know why some people probably really cream their genes as a Jarrettism. Sometimes people would say. I can see why people really go after this one, where they're kind of just like, oh yeah, it's sharp, it'll get you. You'll be keeling over in your pants, and you go, okay, sure. It's got some jokes, moves fast. I mean, I do think it is like, I think it's well written in the sense of like what they're doing. It's like, yes, what they're doing, what they're trying to do, I think they actually do well, where it's like they're going for this thing about I don't know. They're layering all this stuff about this guy's elaborate plans, and he's well spoken and he sounds nice. Like that's what I mean by that. Like the dialogue is well spoken. It seems.
Yeah.
So well written by that standard.
I see.
But yeah, I'm so like I don't like love this thing. I'm pretty much with you. Like I'm kind of like yeah, I didn't mind it. Like I don't dislike it or anything like that. I'm not
Right.
going crazy over it or
Yep.
anything like that. But I didn't dislike it. It's not a huge win for me. But it is also, as we've mentioned before, comedy is sometimes different strokes for different folks. And
you appreciate the movie.
I appreciate the movie, but my comedy usually has Bobby Boucher as a character in there. And I know that line alone, people will probably be upset about this review, but I don't give a shit. Adam Sandler's awesome. I'll watch his comedy.
Pure Adam.
All Sandler. Yeah, so like I don't love it in the respect that other people do, but like I was saying, there are a few things I did like. Some of the deaths I thought were like they're kind of playful. Like I did like the boat one. I like the bow and arrow out of the window just because it's like it's kind of fast and it just goes, and I'm like, oh, okay. But like at some point, I can't remember, like 3 or 4 in, I was kind of just like, okay, we could. I was kind of like we could kind of move along. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's well put together. I think they had a good plan for this thing, and yeah, as you said, I do appreciate it. So it's not my favorite jam, but as you mentioned earlier, you and me saying, "Oh yeah, this is decent. We just don't love it." This will probably be our most disliked video or disliked review in years.
Maybe we'll have someone saying that they should have got different guys to do this review.
We should have got 9 different guys.
No, but because I think they think we're the Criterion Collection, and we're the guys they got to do it.
Oh,
they
should. Wouldn't that be more refreshing though if Criterion put out a movie and they got someone to do it, and the guy was like, "Yeah, this movie's fine." It's like, this is what I like about it. This is what I don't like about it.
I would imagine that they would always find someone who has some enthusiasm, and then it starts really getting. You can tell. There's some of the movies that we've gotten to, and I'm like, all right, I gotta read what the essay is for this thing, and you're like, I don't think this person likes this very much, but they're getting paid by the word.
Yes, which I mean, I honestly I would appreciate that a lot more. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Let me tell you though, RJ, I got some bits here. The British Film Institute see Kind Hearts and Coronets as, quote, less sentimental than many of the other Ealing films. Kind Hearts and Coronets, quote, unleashes transgressive nightmares, fables of subversive, maverick masculine obsession in action, where the repressed and vengeful bubble up to the surface and lead to resolutions which were only just contained in the moral strictures permissible in Balkan's Ealing cinema at the time.
I was thinking the same thing.
Maverick masculine obsession. How about historian Ross McKibben sees the film as a, quote, sustained satire in its portrayal of the upper classes. Of course, to me, it's like, yeah, I watched the movie and that's what it is, and it's like, what's the satire? I don't know. It's like, yeah,
rich, it's sustained.
This is so. These are like stereotype broadnesses, and you're like, okay, and then he's going to kill them because it's like, oh, look at me, attack it. I don't know. That is not enough. Partly because of the intended absurdity of the D'Ascoyne family being portrayed by Guinness. Lady Clara Vere de Vere, the poem for which the film's title derived, concerns class tensions surrounding love between classes. You know about Lord Tennyson, RJ? You know Alfred.
Oh, yeah.
You know Alfred, Lord Tennyson.
I know Alfred Pennyworth is the same guy.
Same idea. Well, he's not Lord. He's just a butler, RJ. Sir Alfred.
Yeah, I think he had some royalty. He just stepped down because he had duty he needed to do. That's why Alfred was a good dude.
Wasn't he a combat medic too?
Allegedly.
Yeah. So anyway, we could speak to Sustained satires.
Oh yeah, that's a new one. I haven't heard that one. Sustained satires.
Yeah.
I like it.
That's why we have writers, RJ.
Of course. Yeah. They use some big words for sure.
You want to hear from people who hate this film?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Let's pull it up. How about SH Unleashed?
How about them?
Half a star.
Okay.
My new least favorite movie of all time.
Oh, what was it before? I wonder.
It's not necessarily bad, but it's just not for me. I felt myself getting sleepy in the first 15 minutes. I just didn't care about it at all, and it felt like a massive drag. Once again, I'd like to take this moment to remind you that I don't think that this is necessarily bad. It's just not really my kind of movie. To me, it feels boring and too cheesy.
I mean, they said some of the same stuff I said, which kind of bums me out.
It made him gassy, RJ.
Yeah. Favorite films include Good Will Hunting, Avengers Endgame, Edge of Tomorrow, and Finding Nemo.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of 5 stars to Marvel stuff. And then they do have all of the Avatar sequels in their watch list. And the only half-star films are something called Superworm, Kind Hearts and Coronets, and Batman and Robin. Which Batman and Robin's not a half-star film. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, they also 1-starred Batman Returns. Now that's pretty crazy.
That is wild.
Yeah, that's not a 1-star film. But yeah, strange tastes. They're just basically what I'm seeing here is they love Marvel movies.
They like those Marvel Facebook groups. That I always see. Okay.
Yeah.
Eli, 1 star. Oh my god, I was so bored. I can see how people like it, and it's not a bad movie. It's just not really a movie for me.
See, it bums me out that so many people are just saying.
But it's like 1 star.
Yeah, I know. Well, I wouldn't do that. Like that's not fair.
No, it's bizarre. Because it's not a badly made movie at all.
No, it's not.
It's like, I mean, it's acted. It's well acted.
It's well acted, well written.
Yeah, but it's just like, at the end of the day, I mean, So I'll view, the way I view like any movie. It's like, I don't get a lot out of this personally. So I mean, that's all I can go off of. Yeah. What is tell me about Eli?
Well, they 5-starred Finding Nemo as well, which I mean, I know Finding Nemo is a good movie. It's just it's funny that it's popping up so frequently. They also 5-starred Hamilton, which we talked about earlier today. Mm-hmm. Goodfellas, Hot Fuzz, His Girl Friday, and 12 Angry Men are their favorite films. And then some half-star films include Dune. What? Like David Lynch's Dune.
Oh.
Hausu, Field of Dreams, Clockwork Orange they gave a 0.5 star. And then Cats. So there's I wonder what they got against Clockwork Orange.
One more.
Okay.
Charlie.
Yeah.
1 star. How is this a comedy? It's just being boring, literally, no visual style, and Alec Guinness is barely in it. What?
Do you think they didn't know, or do you think it's a really good
well, I guess
do you think it's a joke?
For what he does, he doesn't do a lot in the movie because he's not even, he's like not even a main character, which is true.
Yeah, he just stands around kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, Charlie.
Charlie's got a studentfilmjournal.co.uk if you're interested in that.
I'm not.
Neither am I. Favorite films include Before Sunrise, The Hudsucker Proxy. Man, haven't brought that up in a long time. Mm-hmm. Mommy, by your favorite guy, that Canadian dude. What's his name? Xander Zanzan or something?
Oh, my favorite dude.
Yeah, and The Truman Show. So it's like, okay, let's see what some other 1-star films. Oh, The Night Porter. Interesting. The English Patient. Okay. Don't Look Now. Spider-Man 2. Oh, no, wait, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Oh, they also 1-starred Rosemary's Baby and The Conversation. Those are pretty good shows, Jarrett.
Hey, I got one more for you. Okay. How long is this actually, though? It's not bad. Rich Pure Doom.
Yeah.
1.5 stars. I hate to beat up on the classics, but here I go again.
Okay.
From the first murder, where our lifeless narrator swims up to a boat unheard and then releases the boat to go careening over a waterfall unbeknownst to the people in it, I knew the humor in this would fall flat for me. That's a pretty good ways into the movie.
Yeah, that is. A while.
The gimmick of having Alec Guinness playing 9 characters is the funniest thing about it. And that wears out its welcome at a certain point. The main character is a charisma drain, and his narration was grating and endless. It plays out with no surprises or tonal shifts to keep things interesting. If you like the one note this has to play, it might be for you.
It might be. Will it be? I don't know. Rich Pure Doom bio says, I watch all kinds of films. Any genre. Any time period. This is a no bullshit account of what I see.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, if you want to check them out, they have something on Bandcamp, so you can check that out.
Oh, shit.
I love how people are always like...
Bandcamp?
Yeah. I like how these bios are always like, I watch all movies, or it's like, I watch Japanese Westerns, and that's it. And you're like, all right, dude, fuck, nobody cares. Favorite films, Dawn of the Dead, Nashville, Only Angels Have Wings, and The Bridge Over River Kwai.
Okay.
A lot of 5-star like Criterion things like Children of Paradise, La Dolce Vita. They gave 5 stars, Jarrett.
Yeah.
But here's something interesting. Amarcord, half a star.
Wow.
And La Strada, half a star. I mean, La Strada's not
a big Fellini boy.
But they gave La Dolce Vita 5 stars. But not Amarcord?
No,
you know what I mean?
They didn't rate 8.5?
Not that I'm seeing. Well, their 5-star list is really long, so it could be in there somewhere. But they half a star to Taste of Cherry as well, which is like, Taste of Cherry is pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know why Taste of Cherry would be that. Let's see. Actually, now that I'm looking, no, they have not rated 8.5, or it's not in their 5 stars or half stars. So I just find it strange that the La Dolce Vita is the top for them, and then Amarcord is so low. Amarcord's a pretty good show. And that's me saying that.
That's you.
That's me.
With the fart.
The Fellini boy. The fart. Exactly. Knights of Cabiria, 1 star. Wages of Fear, 1 star. Network, 1 star.
Whoa, okay, that's absurd.
You know what I mean?
That's absurd. Okay.
You know what I mean, Jarrett?
Enough of this person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, Joker, 1 star. Not even an incel. Crazy. Yeah.
Any final thoughts on Kind Hearts and Coronets?
It's not like a not well-made movie. It's just not for me.
Wow. Is this you, or is this a Letterboxd comment? One and the same, it turned out.
Yes.
Do-do-do.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's just like, I'd rather be watching other things.
It's just not for you.
Porno. Porno, where Alec Guinness plays all the roles.
No. and the tagline for that, as always, all Alec, pure Guinness. For the porno.
but wait, full erection, 100%.
I like that. I'm going to give you that one. It's the only one I'm going to give you because I like it. I like that one. I don't know why. It's just funny.
Mm-hmm. After the break.
Oh, we haven't done that yet?
Memoir. Don't write things that you do. Like, don't write your crimes in a fucking book that people can find. Don't write it as a note, as a draft. Don't send emails to yourself with its evidence. You're going to go to jail. And hey, maybe just don't do bad things so you have nothing to write about. Be boring. Like RJ and me. We're boring. We don't do bad things. Yeah. We do a podcast and we talk about bad things. Yes. Full erections.
Be boring. Full erections. Don't write crime. That's like Crime 101.